welcome students. So my name is Prem Kumar Bichala. So we are going to study today's topic UV visible spectroscopy. So now we are going to study basic principles of UV. So actually spectroscopy is the branch of science which deals dealing the study of the interaction of electromagnetic radiation with the matter. The term electromagnetic in a precise description of the radiation in that the radiation is made up of electrical and magnetical wave, so which are in phase and perpendicular to each other and to the direction of propagation. So just go through the below picture. So there I gave how the electromagnetic radiation travels one place to another place. Here types of magnetic radiations. So according to Max Planck theorem, so energy is directly proportional to the 1 by lambda, where energy increases automatically the lambda of the radiation should be decreases. So this is the order I mentioned the picture. So where the wavelength is going to be a decrease. So here I mentioned radio frequency, so having a less energetic radiation compared to all radiations, whereas gamma rays are the highest energetic level, similarly lowest wavelength containing radiation. So in our topic visible and ultraviolet, so compared to ultraviolet, visible is having low energy whereas high wavelength. So UV visible spectroscopy is also known as electronic spectroscopy, so in which the amount of light absorbed at each wavelength of UV and the visible regions of electromagnetic spectrum is measured. This absorption of electromagnetic radiation by the molecules lead to molecular excitation. So electronic spectroscopy is nothing but where we use electrons to excitation in molecular level. The principle of UV is mainly depends on electron transitions obtained in the sample. So here there are three types of electronic transitions which can be considered. So first one is transitions involving pi, sigma and n electrons. The second one, transitions involving charge transfer electrons, whereas third one, transition involving d and f electrons. So these d and f electrons are the valency electrons of at a molecular level or atomic level of the compounds, whereas second one is I mentioned there, transition involving charge transfer of electrons. When these compounds are present in ground state, it should absorb the radiation and it enters into their respective excited state. So when the electrons travels from ground state to excited state, so there must be change occur in their charge. Then so absorbing species containing as I told earlier sigma, pi and electrons. So this flowchart may give the different types of electron transitions along with different types of electrons. So at ground state we are having sigma, pi and n electrons, and sigma and pi electrons are always in bonding nature, whereas n electrons are having non-bonding nature. So these electrons are located the atoms which are having a lone pair of electrons. So when we apply the radiation to the ground stated electrons, so these ground stated electrons absorbs the electrons and reaches its respective excited states. Those are sigma asterisk and pi asterisk. So these excited electrons are known as anti-bonding electrons. From sigma to sigma asterisk, so the energy required is more, and N2 sigma star, so compared to sigma is less energy level. Then respective pi 2 pi star and N2 pi asterisk are having less energy levels. Okay, the first one we are going to discuss sigma to sigma asterisk transitions. In this, an electron in a bonding s orbital is excited to the corresponding anti-bonding orbital. So here s orbital electrons are present in s orbital, so they may enter into their anti-bonding orbital level. Here the energy required is large. For example, methane having which has only CH bonds and undergoes sigma to sigma asterisk transitions. So in methane, the valence of carbon should be satisfied with single bonds only. If the compound is saturated, there we observe only sigma bond. That means that compounds are having sigma electrons only. So methane shows an absorbance maximum at 125 nanometer. Then absorption maxima due to sigma to sigma asterisk transitions are not seen in typical UV visible spectra, that is 200 to 700 nanometers. Then second one, N2 sigma asterisk transitions. So this transition mainly obtained in the compounds, those saturated compounds containing atoms with a lone pair of electrons, that is non-bonding electrons, are capable of N2 sigma star transitions. So these transitions usually need less energy than sigma to sigma asterisk transitions. So whereas the number of organic functional groups with N2 sigma star peaks in the UV region is very small. Then, so chromophore concept. A chromophore is the part of a molecule responsible for its color. The color that is seen by our eyes is the one not absorbed within a certain wavelength spectrum of visible light. So this chromophore is mainly responsible to impart the color to the sample solutions. The examples includes the hydroxyl group, that is OH, then the amino group NH2, the aldehyde group, that is CHO, and the methyl mercaptan group, that is SCH3. So these are the major chromophores which we are used in the colorimetry as well as UV visible spectroscopy, and these chromophores are majorly gives the color to the sample solution. So types of chromophores. Here we have two types of chromophores are known. First one is chromophores in which the groups have pi electrons undergoes pi to pi asterisk transitions. For example, ethylenes and acetylenes. Okay, here the groups which are having pi electrons, nothing but alkynes, okay, that is ethylenes and acetylenes, etc. The second one, the chromophores having both pi electrons and n, nothing but non-bonding electrons, undergoes two types of transitions, that is pi to pi asterisk and n to pi asterisk. For these examples, carbonyl compounds, nitriles, azo compounds, and also nitro compounds. So these compounds are having double bonds. If the compound is having double bonds, there one is sigma bond, one is pi bond. So these carbonyls, nitriles, and azo compounds and nitro compounds are having so both double bonds and as well as a lone pair of electrons, which we consider as n electrons. So if these two electrons are present, so both pi electrons and n electrons are present, so that compound should be undergoes pi 2 pi asterisk and n 2 pi asterisk transitions. Then axochrome. So axochromes is a group which itself does not act as a chromophore, but when attached to a chromophore, it shifts the absorption towards longer wavelength along with an increase in the intensity of absorption. Okay, so like biological catalyst, so the catalyst which do not involve in the reaction, but it increase the rate of reaction. Here similarly, the exochromes are not responsible for the chromophoric nature. If attached to chromophore, it gives the shifts towards longer wavelength, that is red. So commonly known exochromic groups are OH, NH2, OR, NHR and NR2. So these compounds are act as a exochromes. Generally, the compounds which are able to donate the electron, so those considered as exochromes. Then absorption shifts are spectral shifts. So as we seen in the diagram, so if there is no changes and there is no errors and there is no shifts in the spectrum, the spectrum itself gives the parabola like nature. If any changes are occur, so the parabola type spectrum should be alter its nature. So here we have four types of absorption shifts. So first one is bathochromic or red shift. Second one is hypsochromic or blue shift. Third one is hyperchromic shift, or then fourth one hypochromic shift. So coming to first one, bathochromic or red shift. It is a shift of a band to lower energy or longer wavelength. So if you compare VIBGR, so violet color is having a lower wavelength, whereas red is having higher wavelength. So red is having lower energy level. So when these shifts occurs by attaching of exochromes to the solution. If exochromes are attached to the compound, it should gives the shift towards red color, that is bathochromic shift. Second one, hypsochromic shift. So the band to higher energy or shorter wavelength. So its shift towards blue side. So that's why you can also known as this is a blue shift. Then third one is hyperchromic shift. So in this shift, an increase in the molar absorptivity. Then fourth one, hyperchromic shift, it is a decrease in the molar absorptivity. So that is all for today class. So we will cover in next class UV visible instrumentation.